Hey everyone, it's Tony Cotty, and I'd just like to wish Jazz all the best for his new YouTube channel, which is West Ham Irons channel. So please subscribe and like the channel, get behind him, be clever like me, as I was as a goal scorer, and support Jazz on his new venture. It's called the West Ham Irons channel, and I'd like to wish Jazz all the best. Cheers, mate. Good luck.
Thank you, TC. Thank you for joining in. I know he's always busy, but good afternoon, lads. Good afternoon, Frankie. Good afternoon, Mike. So, Mike, how you doing? I know you've had the dreaded COVID, mate. Hopefully you're over the worst.
Yeah, I was just showing him the positive test from this morning. Normally saying positive is supposed to be good for you, isn't it? With COVID, it's like, oh, it's positive. Yeah. Oh, hang on, that's wrong. But I was, a bit fluey last week, but I feel fine now. But still working from home. Look at me slaving away, working
from
now.
home indeed.
Yeah.
It's the new buzzword, isn't it, recently? So I like to do that. Let's see what's happening in the comments. Oh, God, we're going to go to that person soon. Before I do that, Frankie, how you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. What an interesting opening gambit that was from TC there, mate. And before we end today, I'd love to just go back to something you said in there and discuss one really critical thing you said. So we'll do that later on whenever you're ready, my man.
Yeah, no problem, mate. So let's have a look in comments. Eastside Views, passionately, doesn't like David Moyes and didn't waste any time with his views. he waits on the tree like the birds, and as soon as something goes wrong, he's in there, mate. But fair enough. Yep, everyone's views count. Thank you for joining in as well. Oh my God. Oh, really bad mood. Oh my God. Eastside Views. Lots of bad words coming out in there, mate. Right, everyone, we're here to discuss the London derby from yesterday. Finished Brentford 2, our beloved West Ham United 0, which means Brentford have done the double over West Ham. I wonder what the odds would that have been, Frankie, when the season started. Little old cute cuddly Brentford. They certainly don't play like that, mate. They're doing their little tricks, but quite disappointing, really. Let me just put the lineup up for everyone's benefit, really, in terms of I was more interested in that, how they were going to set up, mate. And Frankie, you could tell from the first minute they were confident. They had that thing about them where they kind of knew they were going to win, and we were like, I don't know what we were doing, mate. So I mean,
first 10 minutes, for me, best 10 minutes we had all game. I wasn't like. I didn't see what was coming after the first 10 minutes. I was watching with real interest to try and see just whether... I don't think any of us really knew whether there was any priority with regards to the Europa League or our position in the Premier League this season. And everyone kind of was of the opinion you just play the strongest 11 and you just hope that you can keep playing them for every game. And hopefully we sort of come through it unscathed and we've got enough energy to last until the end of the season. However, I think yesterday, it was quite clear that we have got our focus elsewhere. A lot of people have difference of opinions whether or not that's the good thing to do. You had a massive chance to go 3 points clear in sixth yesterday, and a huge incentive with all the teams losing around us. So to come out the way we did and really start so slowly and never really get into it for the rest of the game. It was quite a tough watch from start to finish, mate. But I thought the first 10 minutes, okay. I was giving us the benefit of the doubt. I thought this European hangover is real, whether you like it or not. It's double tough to go from a massive night at the London Stadium against big European opposition and then go to some garden centre over in West London and have to try and get up for a game of football over there. It's difficult. And I think we saw that yesterday.
Yeah, Mike, I kind of had a feeling where you already knew in the dressing room what the Brentford manager was going to tell them. Can we do a bit of the same what we did when we won over there? The setup's pretty similar. They're aggressive. They were at it. They were wasting a bit of time with throw-ins and other stuff. And it looked like like Frankie said, were we mentally not quite up for it, mate? What did you think? What you saw?
Okay, first of all, let's get a couple of things clear. That is the worst West Ham performance I've seen this season and probably over the last 2 seasons. We were awful. I thought we lacked all of the things that we normally are very good at. We had no shape. We lacked organisation. This is West Ham. Right? We're normally a very organised team. We lacked inspiration. We lacked energy, which is something as well we normally have in abundance. We lacked drive. We lacked any idea at all. Or it looked like we did. Can I just say, though, that all these people posting Moyes out and blah, blah, blah are being ridiculous because, it's one game. We still, if you take the season as a whole, have done really well. But we are just talking about this one game, aren't we? So to get back on topic, hindsight's a brilliant thing, isn't it? I wouldn't have slept with that awful woman 3 years ago that I had done if I knew what the consequences were going to be. But do you know what I mean? We can all fall foul to that sort of thing. And I certainly wouldn't have had that extra tequila 2 weeks ago. Oh dear. But never mind. My point is, in hindsight, we should have just rotated. And even though we haven't got the squad for rotated, play some kids, play the other people that are on the bench, and we would have actually probably done better. There is definitely a European hangover. I think you're absolutely right, Frankie. No one's going to be up for the Garden Centre game after playing that massive European night and knowing there's another one coming. Are you really going to go fully in for that 50-50 challenge when you know that it could leave you out for a week or two, and that means no more European game for you this week? No. And I think that really showed in the team. I just think the team were playing less than half their normal capacity all the way through. And you can't really look at anything. I know we've got a small squad. I know we've got a thin squad and everything, but you can't really look at it other than there's no other reason other than that European hangover in there. I think you're bang on. But having said that, hindsight's a big thing. And Moyes got it wrong. He really should have changed the team up. But overall, Moyes normally gets it right. That's
Frank,
my
you
thoughts.
want to come back in again? Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough one. I get the rotation side of things. I think he had a couple of opportunities to rotate, which we don't normally have. I think Sufal coming in was always going to be tough. He hasn't played any football for a while now. They've got a lot of pace down the sides there as well. So I think that was always going to cause us trouble. That's probably one of the worst games you could have brought a player back who's had a bit of time out and trying to get back from injury. That was a bad game for him to come in at, really. And then I would, before all those teams around us lost, I would have heavily rotated, because the problem you've got now is, we were tired for that Lyon at home game. I felt we were tired. You then look tired against Brentford. Well, you're definitely going to be tired now on Thursday because they ain't had a break. So nothing's going to miraculously change in the 3 days now before we play Lyon in the second leg. So it's really, really tough. Where they're going to get their energy from, I don't know. You just hope the adrenaline kicks in at the big occasion and somehow we can find something in the tank. But there were definitely some players there who looked jaded, really did need to sit out if we're going to throw everything into Thursday night. But I think it would have been, if Moyes had rotated heavily and maybe played Krul instead of Souček, played Sufal at the back there, maybe played someone else up front instead of Antonio, maybe give Yarmolenko a start or something like that. If you then go and get beat and you had that chance of going 3 points clear in sixth, everybody's gunning for David Moyes then more than they are now, because everyone would have said, why have you done that when we had a big opportunity to solidify our European chances for next season? So he had a really tough decision to make. Did he get it wrong? I still don't know, mate. I'm not the man who's paid to do those decisions, and he gets paid a lot of money to do it. There's arguments for both ways. I just don't know. All I know is we're a very slim squad. He doesn't trust anybody we've got in reserve, not even the backup players like Crow and that. So much so that he don't even want to bring them on as a sub later on in the game. He don't even want to give, players 20 minutes of a breather, let alone start one of those backup players. Before the game, I said to my friend, we lose this the night before. I said to Steve, we lose this 2-0, we'll win 1-0 on Thursday night. That 1-0 hope is hope. It's not what I actually think the scoreline's going to be. But I knew yesterday was going to pan out the way it did, mate. It was, what else could you have expected? It was always going to be that way.
Yeah, I think, it's a shame because the way the results went our way on Saturday, I was kind of thinking it's like a free hit. That sounds bad, but I'm like, if we lose, we're still in that same position as before Saturday's games. But then you look at it, if you'd won, wow, that would have really have boosted us up above teams, especially like Man United and Wolves behind us, really. Going back to Mike's point, I do agree. I think it's our worst performance this season. And that goes in line with Thomas Frank, the Brentford manager's comment, saying this is our best performance of the season, really. And the way it is, it's how fans have reacted. I've jumped up and down. Some people have looked at the whole picture and said it's fine the way the season's going, but it's about who do you blame, or I can only comment on what I see when players cross over that line. Really, I can't look into. Kafal has just come back from a hernia, and he said, "Listen, mate, I was playing with a hernia before the operation." Okay, that's 1 point. Second point, Dawson said, I play with injections most of the time. Fine. All these things keep happening. Didn't sign anyone in January. Zuma, the only man worthy of mentioning to come to us in the summer. The Bucks got to stop with the manager, and I'm shocked how the dressing room is still intact. They're still playing when I think we're discussing, Frankie, how two of the senior players had gone over to the board in January and said, come on, guys, we need help. There's no one coming in. But hands up to the players. They're still trying. They're still kind of running themselves into the ground and personally injuring themselves. I can only comment on what I saw yesterday, and I thought it was poor. I can't say it's a small squad. It's a small squad because of someone else. It's not my fault and not the players' fault. So for me, I can only judge on what I saw. And
but on that, mate, we have got to stop guessing at the reasons why. I can't stand this whole, Moyes didn't want any players. He said there was no one good. But nobody knows if it was Moyes or not, really, mate. Nobody knows. Nobody knows if the board has said there's no money, but I want you to say this, I want you to say that, nobody knows why no players came in, mate. Nobody truly knows the real reason. So, but we just have to accept that's what happened, mate. And that's it. We got what we got.
And Mike, an example of how things can change, we saw when Lingard came in, and this morning the reports are that Eriksen has changed Brentford's season, and he's perhaps one of the, if not one of the good signings or the best signing in January window. I was looking at Eriksen in envy and thinking, I wish perhaps Lanzini was quite not on it yesterday. I was hoping someone like that in our team could have made things happen. So for you, Eriksen, you think that would have ever happened? Was that a doable transfer for us, mate?
A tough one, isn't it? You never knew how he was going to recover. How many times do we get a crocked player and they barely ever play a game, but we pay them $100,000 a week? Yeah. West Ham love doing that. I don't think Eriksen was necessarily the right player to choose. Lanzini was a good point what you made there, mate. Lanzini didn't feature in the other game, and I do feel like I don't know. He seemed half a yard behind the game all game. There was passes where people tried to pass it into him. It wasn't exactly to feet. It was a yard away, and he just sort of went, "Oh, I can't get that. I'm going to let that ball go past me." So that the one that I don't think had an excuse yesterday was Lanzini for me. He had the break because of his suspension, and I feel like even he just weren't at the races, mate. Which to me says it was a mentality thing as well as a bit of jadedness as well.
I think so. And Mike, what's your feelings around how a player in January coming in can hit the ground running, give your season a bit of a boost by one or two positions? And I know, from what I'm told, it's a 12 million insurance payment to get Eriksen in and then a certain amount every month. I don't know how it's worked out. But that's the kind of player next season that I want. Actually, funny enough, I want that player to be next to Rice next season. I've said many times. but can also put his foot on the ball and help the front four, mate. So, Mike, what do you think?
Eriksen's got that Danish thing going on. There's a lot of Danish players, a Danish coach at Brentford. I think that is where that link comes from. If you look at those loan things, or those people that come in January, if you notice how often there's some sort of connection with the manager. Like Moyes already worked with Lingard before when he came in. He knew. And so the what's his name, Frank, innit, who manages Brentford, he'd already worked with Eriksen. He knew him. He knew what was coming in. He knew what he was getting. Brentford are a completely different beast with that creative ball-playing midfielder in the middle of the park. And Eriksen is, on his day, which he seems to be having at Brentford now, is a class act. I mean, a proper class act. Like, borderline, not world player, but European player. Look how much Juventus paid for him, and look how well he did at Spurs. This guy is mustard, to coin the East London phrase. Do you know what I mean? But because of what's happened, they've got him. It reminds me of, do you remember when we got Paolo Di Canio just because he pushed a referee over once? There was no way we were getting near Paolo Di Canio. He pushes the referee over, he's playing for West Ham. And suddenly you've got a really, really good player. But it's true, that's the only reason we got him.
It's like Payet. It's like everyone said to Wenger, why didn't you sign Payet? You're the pioneer of bringing French players over. Now we know why. There's something wrong with his head. I don't know. But
but I mean, hopefully those sort of days are gone. But there was always something slightly wrong with players we got, or there is a reason why in the past. But my point is that there's generally a reason, and that's why he's gone there. So I don't think Eriksen's a player we will ever get our mitts on. But he's made all the difference to them in exactly the same way. They're the different kinds of players that Lingard did to us last year. I think it's easy to forget that impact we had when Lingard came in. I think he changed sort of momentum of the team as well as what he did individually. He made the whole team play better, and Eriksen's had that effect on Brentford. And Brentford beat us without him. Just remember that as well, So add him into the mix. I thought we were going to lose this long before. I agree with Frankie. He said the same thing. I thought we're not going to win this. Because and if you look at actually how that game panned out, I've not seen stats for anything. Obviously I watched it, but I thought they completely overpowered us in midfield. And he's one of the main reasons why. I don't think Brentford are that amazing a team, but the way their midfield operated, they outnumbered us. Lanzini went missing at Frankie's bang on as well for a large portion of the game, and we were completely outnumbered. By the way, going back to Lanzini and Kufal, I felt that he played them the night of Thursday and getting some game time in their legs, because Lanzini's not played for a few weeks. And because Kufal hasn't played for a few months, I reckon he quite fancied playing Kufal on Thursday, and he wanted some minutes in him before he did.
I think so. Going back to the first half, Frankie, I don't think nothing really exciting or much was going on. I think I'm making some notes. I think I'm making notes on obviously the throw-ins, is like going back to the 1980s, watching Wimbledon and other teams like that. And I think the commentators are mentioning it. Yeah, it's happening a lot of throw-ins, and every throw-in he's bringing the towel out, wiping it. It just kept stopping the game a lot, but I don't know, some things are okay.
But that should have helped us, mate. Because if you're hungover from that night before, what you don't want is a fast-paced game coming at you. The fact they were trying to slow the game down should have played into our hands a little bit. And we went in at half-time 0-0, and I weren't disappointed. I did kind of feel like that could have been a lot worse. And then I thought, we've now got something to kick on with in the second half. Yeah, and that's right. And I thought, okay, it wasn't a good half, but we were very hungover from Thursday night. But it's 0-0, and now second half we can, Moyes can whip them into shape a little bit. He's obviously seen what they've got to offer in the first half. Then I thought, now let's try and kick on and get at them a little bit more. And again, similar to the Lyon thing, I think we watched that Seville game. We pressed so hard, we moved the ball so quickly. I just felt like it was the best performance I'd seen from a West Ham side for a very, very long time. And I know it was the occasion and everything else, but I just wanted Lyon. I felt like we gave them too much respect, sat too deep, didn't really cause them any problems in that first half. And I think you know, that's what made that game really difficult when we had that energy behind us to try and kick us on. And then that carried over a little bit into Brentford. We're slipping back at the moment to that old West Ham of sideways passes, backwards passes, slow to make a decision, never want to play the ball forward quickly. There was a few times where Bowen, and the commentator was saying it as well. He was saying out on that right-hand side, they're kind of leaving Bowen in loads of space. And the commentator was saying, oh, I've just seen Declan Rice have a word, and I bet Declan Rice is going to pop the ball straight over to Bowen next time he gets the ball now. And there was loads of space over there. But every time we got the ball, we'd look up, see Bowen in the space, not give it, and then just pass it sideways. Yeah. And it was like, get forward, go do something, try and make something happen, give them something to think about. And then by the time we play that sideways pass, they're all behind the ball. They've got their 2 banks of 4 in there again. And then we find it really difficult to break them down. You've got to move the ball more quickly. It's no good the way we went out there. It was just all too slow, all too lethargic. However, I thought in the second half, we might change it up a bit. And I thought Bowen might get at him a bit more. So at half time, mate, I wasn't too disappointed, is what I'm saying. I know it was a poor half.
I was frustrated, Antonio.
But to be 0-0, I thought it weren't bad.
Yeah, I mean, the Zuma injury happened 28 minutes. He tried to stay on. Dawson had a bad knock on his nose. He did the whole game. 2 points again before he goes second half. Yeah, the Zuma injury, mate. Sprained ankle.
About that, forget the injury, mate. That tackle was so cynical. It was an awful challenge. That player ain't got a yellow card. I'll never, ever know. That was a cynical challenge. He didn't play the ball. He took the man out. He's ended up injuring the man, so he's had to go off. I know the referee didn't know that at that point, but that's a yellow card all day long. Harry ain't got booked. I'll never know.
It looks like VAR has recently gone back to what it was before. I don't know if that. Well, we're not going to talk about it, but that there was a third goal Man City scored yesterday. I don't know if that was quite close to what it should have been. I don't know what happened, but yeah, why is not VAR looking at anything, isn't it, to help the ref out sometimes? The other thing was, mate, I know I keep going, Antonio was shocking for me, mate, yesterday. Oh my God. Mike, do you agree, Antonio? I've had enough with him now. I can't take it anymore. I don't know.
He's an easy target, and I disagree. I disagree. I mean, he didn't play well. None of the team did. Why are you picking on him?
So I'll tell you why I'm picking
on him because of the position. No. You're picking on him because he's up front and he's a focal point of the attack. He's knackered. He was knackered in the first half. You could see it. He had no legs left in him, and he wasn't that interested. You could say that about the whole team.
No, but
But 4 goals in 28 games. 4 goals in 28 games, no goals in 12. What other striker in world football would start every game when he's gone 12 games without scoring a goal and has only scored 4 in 28? That is disgusting form for a striker.
Yeah, but it's about the team. Are the team scoring enough goals?
Well, yeah, I think we do. We're the only team to not who scored every home match this season or whatever it is.
So you've got to look at. You've got to look at what he does for the team.
But he's only got 4 assists as well.
Hang on, but it's but he gets a lot of assists of the assist, if you know what I mean. He seems to he can pull defenses out of shape. He's very good at that. He does worry defenses. And look, could we get a player in that's better than Antonio? God, yeah. I mean, like,
he was on the pitch,
I'm not sat here going, oh no, we can't possibly ever replace him or upgrade Antonio. Yes, we could. Yeah, but he does do a lot for the team. It's like what's his name? Firmino at Liverpool, who hardly ever scores and contributes a lot to what that forward line does. I think Antonio does his own way. I think we could have a player who does that and scores goals as well, or more goals, because he sure does miss loads of chances, but he does do that contribution thing pretty well. Admittedly, not on Saturday, but as I said, it's the whole team. So it just annoys me a little bit when we do badly and everyone focuses at Antonio and goes, oh, he's a striker and blah, blah, blah. His job in that team isn't necessarily to score goals. He should be scoring more goals. Look at the amount, if you would say to me, look at the amount of chances he's missed in those, 28 games you said. I've got no argument back for that because he has missed some corkers in that time. Let's not pretend he hasn't, yeah. But he does contribute in a way that some strikers don't. He fits the system well. I mean, we've sold a potentially world-class striker at a loss in Haller, haven't we? Because he didn't fit the system. Rather than change the system, you think back to that. So,
Mike, you're right.
You're looking for a very specific player, and whoever comes in has got to do what Antonio does well. But I agree, would be brilliant if he also converted. If we had someone who does what Antonio does, but also converted, say, half of the chances Antonio's missed, you'd be looking at a 20-goal striker, wouldn't you?
We can't hold it up either, though. The ball doesn't stick to him.
It does sometimes, Jazz. You just stick it. What sticks in your mind is the time you've done it. He's great at little flick-ons, etc. The fact he hasn't got anyone with enough pace to get onto the end of them half the time isn't necessarily his fault if he's being told to do that. He's really good at running into channels, and he does hold the ball up sometimes. Admittedly, he can sometimes have the touch of a bloody tree, but.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Antonio's the striker. Oh, sorry.
Go for it.
They can hear you.
We're waiting on you, Frankie. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what happened there. Everything froze. Yeah, Antonio's the striker that you want around you when you've got somebody else who you can utilise in a different way and somebody else getting the goals around him, which I guess, Bowen has been that player this season and Antonio really. So I think Bowen, gets the amount of goals that he does off of the back of piggybacking on Antonio quite a lot, to be perfectly honest. But I think the problem is, when he's busy, when he's lively, when he is putting himself around, that's when we do see the best from Antonio. There were glimpses of it in the Lyon game when he was getting those flick-ons to Fornals down the other side. He was flicking it on beautifully and really, creating openings for us. But we just didn't have the pace to latch onto them. And I think, that's maybe a bit of the problem.
Also, did you notice in the Lyon game, like when we first switched after half time, obviously we're down to 10 minutes, we switched to 4-3-2, we looked more dangerous. I thought we looked more dangerous after Cresswell was sent off for that first 15 minutes of that second half. And we scored, let's face it. So, proves it, right? Because we had Bowen right next to Antonio, we switched very much to a 4-3-2, didn't we? And that's why Bowen scored. But they were playing a lot more closer together. Suddenly, we looked better. I just think we would look better. I think sometimes, as happened on Saturday, Bowen ends up isolated out on that far flank when he should be much. It would work. I'm not blaming Bowen, by the way. I think that's what he's been told to do, but it would work way better. It works way better when he's way nearer. You're right. It works way better when he's near Antonio, and they can react to each other. They seem to actually play well together as well. As I say, just to finish off from my point of view, of course we can improve on Antonio, but he isn't as bad as the banging he seems to get whenever he has a bad game.
I think going back to Ian's comment, my frustrations are that, next season, Antonio, Bowen, and one other is one of the three behind. And then that, because we don't have a focal point up front, someone who just stays up front. So, like going back to Frankie's point, we might get Bowen, he'll charging up the wing, and there's no one there up front. He stops, waits for someone to catch up with him. Momentum's gone, really. So next season, hopefully we've got a striker who can make those runs and stays up there as much as he can, and we can play off him and find him. So sometimes Antonio, he's taking throw-ins, he's on the wing.
Jazz, can I argue a point here?
Yeah.
What you're asking for is quite old school. Like, if you look at the teams that are successful now, very few of them have got that out-and-out striker. Liverpool don't. City don't. Do you know what I mean? Even Leicester don't really. Most of them have got like a mobile front three. The issue we've got is we haven't got that mobile front three. When we didn't bring in a striker and brought in Lingard, and everyone started moaning last summer. Do you remember last January when we was like, we've got to get a striker, and we got Lingard. Why did that work? That worked because it made that front three mobile. So you had Lingard, Antonio, and Bowen interchanging, mingling, mixing it up, And you know what? That's what defences hate. The minute you plonk a centre forward who's a focal point there, they're easy to. I mean, we didn't work with Haller. You're not going to get a better striker in that position than Haller. He is a very good focal point striker. Doesn't suit what we do. That's it. It doesn't suit. Well, a lot of such stars. It wouldn't suit City. Wouldn't suit Liverpool. You know, it wouldn't suit a lot of players. Even Chelsea aren't playing Lukaku, are they? They're playing Havertz, who likes moving left and right to receive the ball, with other players moving into that central position off him. They are doing that movement of a front three thing as well. You're like, and they've got Lukaku on the bench, one of the best focal points in the world at the moment in world football, a striker. They don't want him. They're doing it.
Yeah, we just
God knows why they bought him, but that's a
Yeah.
whole other story. But so we don't. This idea we need a focal point. No, we need another player who is a good, like, winger come striker come whatever forward line player that can move it around. Like that thing that was saying, you know, the guy we were meant to be getting, Darwin Núñez, that we tried to get off him. If you actually look into what he's done, he spent as much time playing on left wing as he does as a striker. Even though he's a bit of a big unit, he's often used on the left of a three. They like playing him there. They also play him as striker. He's played just as many games and weirdly scores more goals on the left of the three than he does striker, because he's harder to mark. And he's really also, who's marking from across? The fullback generally. Right, someone who's 6 foot is going to beat the fullback 9 out of 10 times, aren't they? That's why they want him. He would fit that role well. Yeah, Lingard really suited that because he could drift central. How many goals he scored drifting century when Antonio's putting the central defenders out wide, and he runs in. That goal, I remember he ran the whole length of the pitch. Antonio's run off the ball just opened the defence up. He went straight through the middle and scored. And you're like, I think it was Leicester or Wolves, and that works really well. We need that interchangeableness, that idea. But we need one that's better at scoring or finishing than we've got. Admittedly, but I'm not into the static forward. Interestingly, though, if you look at a lot of players we're linked with, they are like that. What's his name? The Cameron Diaz, is it? Who plays for Blackburn, and him as well. He didn't score that many goals because he's playing left wing. He's meant to be a left winger. That is his position. He was played out of position striker. Started banging him in. Now they've put him back on the left wing. He's not scoring as many. Well, he wouldn't. He's a left winger.
Yeah, just catching up with a comment. Stevie saying hello to both of you.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
He's coming back from a break at Eastbourne at the weekend.
Good man.
I haven't been, Frank, Eastbourne. Have you been?
Have I been Eastbourne? I thought that's where everyone goes to retire, isn't it?
I used to have an aunt who lived there, and I used to go and visit her there. She'd retired, so yeah, proves your point.
Yeah. It does, yeah. Well, lovely.
Steve.
Steve, I'm purely using him as an example of that sort of fluid front line.
So I'll be saying there, Mike, because I agree with everything you said there, and I think it sums up the Antonio, I guess, situation really well. The reason why he's getting a lot of stick and not being as effective as he normally is that because Fornals, maybe Lanzini, who's in there at times, sometimes Benrahma, ain't quite doing enough to be effective off the back of him and the work that he's doing.
I think so. I just think they're a bit too static. I mean, I feel for Fornals because he actually wants to do it, but he's slow. I mean, he's not the sort of player that can beat people, but Fornals isn't a ball carrier either. Fornals is a really good. My throat's giving out in a minute, guys. I'm gonna stop yakking and let someone else have a go. But Fornals is a passer, not a ball carrier. He's a very good passer, but I think he's baffles me that Lanzini's expected on Sunday against Brentford to fill that central role and drop into that middle part. That's what Fornals is good at doing. I don't understand why he wasn't in that central role so he could, drop back and make a 3 when we've not got the ball, which Lanzini's just too lightweight to do against a team of thunkers like Brentford. And yet you've got Fornals expected to carry the ball and he's a passer on the left. Well, Lanzini could have done that much better. over there, I think. But you know, it just strikes me that Bowen's the only person that really goes for it in that full way that you would want someone. Bowen perceives himself as a forward, whether he's on the left or through the middle. He sees himself as a goal scoring forward. That's what he sees his role as, and that's great because so does Antonio. And we haven't got anyone the other side for whatever reason. That's a whole other debate.
What's Fornell's right position? Fornell's.
It's certainly not a wide left player that tracks back and has to cover the fullback. It definitely isn't that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Scott, welcome. Fantasy. Yeah, hopefully next Monday I'll speak to Mike, see how he recovers this week. So yeah, we'll get that back on track.
And I actually feel sorry a little bit for Fornals with that, actually, because the reason he's there is because he will do the work. It's almost like his effort, commitment, and the fact that he will track has sort of forced him into that position out there. And it's,
absolutely.
I feel a little bit sorry for him for that, to be honest.
Absolutely. The reason he's out of position is because he's a willing runner.
Yeah.
And he is out of position. For me, he's set through the middle player. He's a central player.
Yeah. If we go back to the game, second half, 1-0. It looked like Krezi perhaps lost his marker a little bit, and then the commentators are saying Fabianski should have done a bit better, perhaps, that near post.
I mean, you shouldn't get beat on your near post, but I think it's harsh on Fabianski. I think the defence was all over the shop, mate. We fell asleep. There's a couple of defenders who should have been picking up the man. It could have been Cresswell. It could have been Diop. I think we started to fall apart a little bit when Diop came into that position. I just don't think we looked as organised, and I think that the signs were telling that they were going to get through us and they were going to nick a goal eventually, and it didn't take very long for it to come into the second half, mate. So
100%.
Yeah, what about you, Mike?
100% agree with that. It's bang on, because you forget it's not just the player, and Zuma, who's a very, very good central defender, but by far our best. But it's the organisation he gives the other players, the pointing and talking he does on the pitch, which you do. So bang on, Frankie.
Yeah. I mean, talking about Diop, the second goal was certainly perhaps not a very good understanding between the centre-backs, if I read it right. I mean, he got in between the two, didn't he, to get that goal?
And I think there's a lot to be said. I think what Mike just said there, whoever plays alongside Zuma looks a better player. And always looks a better player. We had a similar with Ogbonna when Ogbonna used to play alongside Balbuena. Balbuena looked all right. As soon as Ogbonna weren't in there and couldn't organise him, he looked an absolute nightmare. So, when you've got those strong leaders in the defence, it helps. Dawson, albeit he's Captain Colossus at the moment, he isn't a vocal organiser of the defence. And I think when you've got him and Diop, who are both quite quiet, I don't think it makes for an organised centre-back pairing, to be honest. In saying that, they weren't dreadful. I think people, when Diop came on, were all concerned that we was going to be just open doors and they was going to have it all their own way. I don't quite think it was as bad as that, to be honest. But, the two goals were both poor, cheap goals that you don't expect to concede if Zuma's in the middle there. So, again, it could have been a very different story. If Zuma stays on that pitch, it might have panned out for a 0-0, mate. Who knows? And I think at the point, we would all be sitting here going, what a fantastic point that was in the grand scheme of things. So, second goal came and that really was game over then, mate. I think I lasted to the 70th minute and then it got turned off for me. So don't ask me what happened in the last 20 minutes because I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Frankie. One word, nothing.
Nothing.
There you go. Perfect. You've got 20 minutes longer of your life than I have.
Excellent.
Well done, mate.
Mike, have you checked the fancy football table, mate?
I have. I'm a little bit confused because I actually had quite a good week. And I'm in loads of mini leagues and in the old league, everything's a green arrow except one mini league. Your one, where it's red. I've gone down. How have I done that? But I'll be back. Don't worry.
It's a bit bad of me because I've got 3 Spurs players in my team. That's why. That's
you deserve flogging publicly for that.
Yeah, that's why I hands up for that.
Who got the most points this week, Jazz?
I haven't checked. Like overall, is it you?
Nudge, wink, wink.
Is it? Oh, I'll have to look at that.
I was a bit naughty because I can't say it was through tactical ability because it wasn't. Because at this stage of the season, I picked players to jinx them. So I put Ivan Toney up front to jinx him to hope that he wouldn't score, but then he did score. I had a load of Tottenham in there to hope that Tottenham end up.
I'm going to have a look now, mate.
Really well. So, yeah, it was fluke more than anything, to be honest.
What did you get? Oh, some big scores in there. 83. Oh my God. Wow. Let's have a look at that. Getting off the subject. 92.
Oh my God, that's huge.
Schmeichel 9. Oh, he's got loads, even though the defense could have done a bit better. Wow.
I know. Defense is what let me down.
Yeah, I had Son as captain. Actually, no. Wow, that's the point. It's more or less from 5 players, actually, isn't it? About 5.
Yeah, 5 players. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
See, wow. I've not got Son, have I? I've got the other 2 Spurs players you've got, but I've not got Son.
Interesting. Let's catch up with some comments. Okay, yeah, that's a fair point. Steve was following the Lyon game and said that 3 players perhaps went off the game injured. I wouldn't read too much into it, but Lyon, 3 players they've lost. Mike, what do you think about that Brazilian winger they allowed to play and he set up the goal? Did he set up the goal last week? The equaliser, I think.
Tete, no, he scored, mate. He scored the winner.
Okay, he's made a good difference to them, and they're allowed to bring him in.
The winner, what, on last week? What, for their league game?
League game, yeah.
And then I think he set up Ndombele in our game. I think did he get the cross in? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was his cross, wasn't it? I think I don't see what the thing is that's happened is we're not allowed. The Premier League have said that no Premier League teams are allowed to join in this.
Yeah, we voted.
Grab a Russia. It's the Premier League's rules, not UEFA or FIFA's. FIFA and UEFA have said, yeah, let's do this to help the players. And the Premier League go, no, we're not going to join in this thing. So instantly, you've unbalanced teams that are playing other European teams that have done it. It just seems weird. So you've just unbalanced.
But again, is that top 6 bias, Mike? You know, that they don't need these players as desperately as the teams within a squads do. It just seems like the top 6 always have it their own way. They don't want Wolves going and bringing in a couple of fresh legs. They didn't want West Ham bringing in, some new players to freshen them up. It just seems whatever suits the top 6 is how it goes,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you only have to look at the restructuring of the Champions League over the next few seasons to see it's completely done to suit certain teams. And I 100% agree with that, Frankie, mate. 100%.
I'm going to go through some questions one by one. So, Mike, if you want to pick this one up, mate, comment from Steve, Mike.
I didn't like seeing Rice moaning at others yesterday. I suppose moaning isn't the right word. I know what Steve's saying, actually, because I noticed that. He looks a bit whingy. Yeah, he looks a bit... He does this.
Oh, right.
Like that a lot. You see him on screen doing that, right? And you're like, that isn't, as a captain, the motivating thing. It should be, come on, you can do better. Not, what are you doing? And he seems to be doing that a lot. I think, again, like, not me. Like, I'm not going to have a go at Antonio for being poor in a poor team. I'm not going to have a go at Rice individually for being poor in a poor team. I will have a go at them collectively for all being crap. But yeah, as captain, I expected a little bit more. I agree on that front, Steve.
Frankie, this one for you, mate.
Yeah, I think but it was always that even before. I know we could have, caught up Arsenal yesterday and gone above them on goal difference and all that, but they've got a couple of games in hand over us. I don't think anything more than that was ever really on. I think we've always been in this mini little race for who's going to get 6th and who's going to get 7th, and then who misses out getting 8th. But honestly, I still believe it'd be an absolute travesty if from where we were at Christmas and for the season we've had, to finish 8th and not have European football again next season will be, I'd be gutted, mate. I really would.
Just going through some more comments. Yep, 1-1. Okay, yeah. Well, our fixtures are hard, mate. You know, we've got Tottenham's fixtures are quite good, and they're in a good position. Rice is playing with.
Inside views. I love. Dear Mr. Inside Views, I challenge you to put a comment on which is at least vaguely positive.
I invited him to come on the show. He doesn't want none of it, so that's fine. Mandy, how you doing?
Mandy's in the house.
Mandy's in the house, and the squad is hanging on by a thread.
That's it. You got it.
I'm not going to talk about man of the match unless you guys want to mention any positivity for me from yesterday.
Double R to pick a man in the match out there, weren't there? There was no one who really tried to get the game by the scruff of the neck.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
We are looking at least shit, aren't we?
That is exactly what it is.
It's not that great an award to give, is it really?
Yeah.
Hey, you were least shit.
Yeah. The only thing I take from yesterday is we've had a day off yesterday now. So while they've all played, hopefully they're going to be, far more ready for it on Thursday, but we'll see.
All right, Ian, have you guys noticed how poor we are? Yeah, I have, mate. I have. I've seen us from corners do short corners and the ball's gone all the way back to the halfway line. From that position quite commonly recently. Yeah, set pieces are, a bit 50-50. I don't know what's gone wrong there. A lot of things to talk about. The window's going to be crucial. Oh, Steve's on. Stevie. Let me just see what Mandy's going to say. How you doing? All right? How you doing?
Steve, what's happening?
I'm sorry, I thought you was talking to someone else then, Jazz. I thought I'd just pop in right at the end.
No, that's all right, mate. Yeah, you got a few minutes. Go ahead, mate.
Yeah, by the way, Frank, it was a naughty weekend, mate. Not a retirement one this weekend.
Good man. That's what I like to hear.
Nice northern lass. I'll tell you what, it was worth it, mate. I'm telling you.
Good man.
So, yeah, then I'm off to Wales. Me and Stevie are off to Wales on Saturday till Tuesday, ripping up Cardiff Bay. We'll have some of that where I used to live.
Oh, nice.
So, you've got to get this East Side Views geezer on here, mate. We'll have to see him on here, won't we?
No, I did. He doesn't want to come on, so there's nothing more I can do.
Mike, how you feeling, mate?
Bit rough. The throat's starting to go. I might have to go buzz off in a moment, guys. If that's
we're going to close. We've got a few minutes. Yeah, we're going to close down. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Really appreciate it, mate. Yeah, Mike's struggling a bit, but hopefully, because I think Steve, you had a bit of the virus, didn't you, a few months ago, didn't you?
Yeah, when I was in Cornwall with Stevie, I travelled back, and the thing is, though, when I had all the shakes, the bones, dead for one day, second day, but the third day I was over it though. Only took 3 days to get over it. But everyone's different.
I was like exactly that. First time I had it, 3 days, then suddenly, do you know what, I'm fine. And I must admit, apart from my throat's giving out a bit, I've been like this time, 3 days being a bit, today I'm working from home, look, blah, blah, blah. The throat's dry.
Do you live in Yorkshire, Mike?
I do, yeah.
I thought you might have been ill. I thought you might have been ill because you spent a few bob. I know what you lot are like up there.
But I'm not from Yorkshire. That's a totally different thing, mate.
Yeah, I know.
There you go. One nasty positive test I had this morning, still telling me I'm very ill with COVID. I noticed.
You ain't mucked up with a pregnancy test, have you?
Shit, that's what it is. I'm up the duff, Steve.
Hey, let's go around. Closing comments, starting with you, Frankie, mate, before we close out. Anything about that? I think you're going to Leon, mate, so good luck with that trip, mate. Hope it goes well.
Have fun, Frankie.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, cheers, chaps. I still haven't booked a flight or a train yet, so I'm leaving it to the last minute, but I will be there, mate. Tickets in the bag and I'll be there. I got a bit of, stick on Twitter from Thursday night when I said I think we bottled it a little bit. I still stand by that, to be honest. I feel like we could have been more positive in the first half, but in saying that, it's a one-off game now, so I'm looking forward to going out there and hoping we can find some energy from somewhere. And then yesterday, I kind of wrote yesterday off a little bit. Like I said, I predicted we'd lose 2-0 before the game. That's exactly how it played out. you know, a lot of people said, well, how comes you say we didn't bottle it yesterday? I don't feel like we bottled it yesterday. I just feel like we weren't really at it. I don't feel like we fancied the job. I don't think we came out there in the right mindset to take the game to them and to try and win the game. I think we've clearly saw yesterday that the priority was Thursday. I think it was one of those performances where no one wanted injuries, no one wanted to, you know, do anything that would jeopardise them playing on Thursday night. And I think we looked like a team with the rails on, to be honest, with the reins pulled back on us. So, yeah, I think, you know, I'd let that one go. I was always going to let that one go. It was always going to pan out that way. And now everything is on Thursday night, mate. And if we go and steam through it and come through that and win the game, believe me, all these people who are still screaming about Brentford even now, mate, it will all be forgotten. Yeah. So, let's just see if we can go and get the result.
Yeah, Mike, your comments. Hi, Jake White. How you doing, mate? He loves me to say his name. How you doing? Yeah, Mike, your closing comments, Mike. Anything you want to discuss?
No, it's do you know what? I'm with Frankie pretty much across the board. I felt going into the game we were going to lose. I really did. I thought it was the poorest performance of this season, and I think the European thing is the whole reason why. I think it's a shame. Opportunity to really establish ourselves in that top six, passed up, and I'd like to see some rotation. But you know what? It is what it is. Hopefully, we'll beat Leon, pardon me, on Thursday. And Frankie's right; it'll all be forgotten if we do, because that would be amazing. But you know what? It's still been a good season. And I'm not up for accepting mediocrity. Quarter-final of Europa League, and why are we sixth in the league at the moment? That's not mediocre. That's good. You know, as long as we improve on it next season.
Great, yeah. Steve. Over to you, sir, for the closing comments.
Well, I was just going to I just wanted Eastside Views just put a comment up addressed to Frankie. So I don't know if Frankie wants to respond to it.
No. We've discussed David Moyes. No. We know where Eastside Views is coming from. Moyes, we get that.
Well, according to Eastside Views, we've lost already. And you know I'm such an old fucker. Like 51 years a fan. It's just like us to go and win on Thursday, mate. We all know what it's like, don't we? Hey.
I think we're a team set up for Europe, aren't we? I think the team's well set up to do well in Europe. We find.
I reckon, boys. I reckon it's gonna be one of them nights, extra time, mate. I'm telling you.
My worry is that man to man, we're more than capable, but it's other things like dives, dodgy penalty. That's the things I'm worried about in Europe. They're quite. Have you boys?
Sorry, I know you're going to cut it in a minute. Have you boys already spoke about this ref? Because I was still travelling back.
Go ahead.
That referee the other night, he was done for match fixing, weren't he? He was a German. What else can you say? Trust us to get him, wasn't it?
To be fair, there are people saying that before he made that decision all around the ground, because he was doing a lot of things before the sending off.
Yeah, he was terrible. Sorry, terrible.
You don't get. He's not in the second leg, is he? They don't referee both legs, do they?
I hope not, mate. Frankie, I hope not. No, I hope not. Mate.
I hope not.
I think he booked. Well, we sent one off and booked three, but none from their team when I had a quick look, really. But anyway, good to see you.
Have you heard about Bowen? Have you heard about Jarrod Bowen today?
No.
I forget who it was who said it online. Everyone was moaning about his performance yesterday, but apparently he got a knock on that ankle in the warm up. I don't know if you boys heard about that.
No,
I did hear about that.
I mean, even if that's true, why did he play the game then?
Listen, that's Moisey, mate. He's hard taskmaster, isn't he? But I don't know, mate.
And who's going to come in? Who's going to come in for Cresswell? Do you reckon? Johnson's still struggling, isn't he?
Is he?
I think it's got to be Johnson.
I could tell that Moyes, he wasn't happy with Cathal yesterday, mate. He was staring at him. He was having words with him, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, everyone scares me. Fredericks, oh my god.
The worst part for me for yesterday's game, out of all of it, was the way Antonio lost that fucking ball when they went up and put it in the back of the net.
Well, you can tell Mike that because I've been told off about that. So, Mike, answer that, please.
That was. Did Mike tell you off about that one, Jazz?
Yeah,
that was all me.
I'm not saying anything.
I just think you can't just say that goal's Antonio's fault because he lost the ball. He's done that before. I remember that game at Palace, away at Palace, when he crossed the ball instead of going to the corner in the lead, and the goalkeeper caught it, threw it out. They went down the other end and scored, and we ended up drawing a game we were winning in injury time. I was at that game. Everyone moaned about Antonio, and I was like, the ball went from the goalkeeper to our goal without anyone else doing anything to stop it. How is that Antonio
going back on Frankie's point, we win Thursday. Yesterday be forgotten. If Antonio scores the winner, me and Jazz are going to have to shut the fuck up, aren't we?
Mate, he's due. I'm telling you, he is due.
Yeah. It could be Thursday. Could be Thursday.
But he explains a lot, that does, Frankie.
I keep thinking Vlasic is going to score. Imagine Vlasic gets the winner and the whole thing changes. Oh, my God.
No, you know it'd be funny. You know it'd be the funniest. Extra time, Alex Crowell comes on and scores. Imagine that one.
No, because he might have to pay a lot of money in that. There might be a clause on there. Every goal he scores is £1 million. Do you?
Do you boys honestly think though that we are going to? Do you boys honestly think that we are going to spend big in the summer? Because I still think no.
Okay, it'll be something like that.
I actually think we've got to, because the amount of players going, the amount of players out of contracts. And the amount of the amount of players that are going to be leaving to the contracts up or retiring in no situation or whatever means we have got to. Are we literally going to struggle to field 11 players?
We'll see.
So we got to.
No, you're right. I don't think people realise how many people are going out the door. Because of that reason. So we've got to replace those players. So, but I don't think it'll be crazy money being spent. I don't think you'll see it north of 80 million. I think that would be the top whack. So
I'd agree with that. But if you consider the amount of players that are going for free from other teams, and you look at, the amount 8 million, you could do reasonably well. It depends how well we spend it. And that's what's going to be interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Mandy's saying it's his fault, Mike. She's only winding you up.
What's interesting though, Mike, you say that you've got the Divering Dave situation, the fact he likes to leave it as late as possible. With contracts expiring, you have to do it early because otherwise they get picked up by other clubs. So maybe we will see some people coming in earlier than we normally do.
If we're doing our contract, then that deal should have been done, even if it's unofficially already.
Yeah.
Now, because they
about Ben Rama. What do you reckon, boys, next year? Ben Rama, would you want him in or out?
They were all singing, say Ben Rama.
Yeah, I heard that.
Come home. If they want to put up the £20-odd million, they can have him back Sunday.
I did a show this morning coming out next week on another channel. I said I'll sell Benny in the summer. I said I'll sell him.
And I keep raising this point, sell him before we do what we do with every other player, and that's run their value into the ground so they're not worth a tuppence to no one. Just let him go while he's still got a bit of value there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the skill. Just Moyes don't use him right, does he?
I've just not seen enough from him. I've seen him go missing in a lot of games, and he'll misplace 15 passes and crosses, and he gets that one assist, and then it's all forgotten about. And so it's not quite a true picture what he does throughout the season. For me,
he gives the ball away a lot. He gives the ball away, and you're right, Jazz. There's a lot of crosses which are inaccurate. And you can't say, he's an attacking blah, blah, blah. Well, Bowen doesn't do that. Bowen rarely gives the ball away. Look how up the pitch Bowen is. All right?
Yeah.
And look how accurate his crossing is. I don't think
Moyes is that fond of him, what it looks like. But anyway, I better close it off. It's been an hour. Don't want to take up any more. Steve, welcome back. So we'll do some more things. It's gonna
you doing anything on Thursday, Jazz, after the game?
I'll talk to you later on. I'm going to do a lot of things differently going forward now. And I'll talk to you guys in the coming days over that. But thank you to each of you for coming and giving me valuable hour.
Nice to see you, boys.
Yeah. So good luck in the week, everyone. We'll catch up. Come on, you Irons. Come on, Antonio. Come on.